Hey everyone, welcome back to Foil Fridays. This is Tucker from MattKiteboarding.com, and in this video we're going to talk to you about the Airush FreeWing, starboard collaboration as well. They kind of are teamed up, so but we do call it the Airush FreeWing or starboard FreeWing. This is a great new wing that's out there for wing foiling, wing surfing, whatever you want to call it, and I'll talk you through some of the features on this wing as well as just a short personal review. So let's jump into it. As with all of our videos, give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Give us a thumbs up even if you don't like the video. Help us out here. Give us comments in the section below. Share it with a friend. Subscribe to our channel if you like it. And if you jump into the eye icon in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, that'll take you to our foil boarding knowledge center on the website. What we have here is the Airush FreeWing. Behind me I have the 5 meter. I've been riding the 4 and the 5 a lot. They're really good wings, so I thought I'd talk to you guys about them real quick and just give you some of the neat features about them. As you can tell, if I step back, the 5 meter is a nice chunky wing, and it's like that throughout pretty much the whole range. You know, it's a pretty medium to low aspect wing, which is nice. You don't get too much wingspan on these. They're very easy to handle and you know, flip around or do whatever. So I find these wings work really good for freestyle riding, flat water tricks and stuff. As you can tell on the front here, you know, pretty basic graphics, which is cool. Got some nice windows here. So if you guys are into windows, this is one of the more functional ones that I've found. You can tell they're quite large and they extend down a little bit lower. So you can see a little bit more out of them. They're a little bit more oriented to the front of the wing, so you can actually kind of see where you're about to go if you're aiming downwind in that direction, which is nice. If you watch my other videos, you know I'm not a huge fan of windows, kind of just take it or leave it. But these ones are actually one of the more functional windows that are out there. So really that's about all we're going to look at on the front here. It's got nice scuff guards and all of that, just like most of our wings do, so they're, you know, a nice wing. But let's flip this thing over and show you the meat and potatoes. We'll start at the top, I guess, and then just kind of work our way through. If you look up at the top here, like most wings, we've got a nice luffing handle here, staging handle, whatever you want to call it. And, you know, it's a good shape. What do you want to say about it? It's a handle, it works good. Moving down, we've got our leash attachment here, which works really nice. One thing that's unique about this particular wing is it has a little swivel on a pigtail. So this is removable, you can use it, you don't have to use it, and it's got a little cover that goes over top of that. So if you're spinning your wing a lot, especially in one direction, you know, it's not as big of an issue with these rope style leashes, but some of the other leashes, they'll get tangled up and wound up. So that helps spin that leash out, and really you don't have that issue too often with these kind of leashes anyway, but that helps with that. It also allows you to adjust the length of the leash a little bit. So if you like one a little bit shorter, so there's less slack in the leash, you can take out the pigtail. If you like it a little bit longer, so it doesn't get in your way when you're hooking in or unhooking, or if you're spinning it around, then you can do that. Moving down a little bit more, we'll talk about the inflation here. Sorry, got our zip ties in the way from when I was filming myself, sorry about that. Inflation valve is just a big old Boston valve. Really reliable, easy to find and replace. Just takes a pressure fit or a screw-on Boston style adapter, so you can either just plug it into there or screw it onto that thread. And it evacuates air really fast when you're done with the wing and you're deflating, packing it up. It, you know, deflates really quickly. What I typically do is I'll unscrew this, fold it back, and then put the cap on. You'll notice there's little holes in the cap. That allows the air to get out, but it keeps the sand from getting into the bladders, and it keeps that little valve from accidentally falling back on top of it and trapping the air when you're rolling it up. So it's kind of a neat little feature. You know, something that's really simple, but can really make your life a lot easier when you're packing up. Moving down again, we've got Y straps here. So this one has Y straps. It helps support the leading edge. It also gives you a nice handhold spot. For me on this wing, I tend not to use them as much as I do on other wings like the Sling Wing or the Ozone Wasp. because they're a little shorter, they're a little bit further forward on the leading edge, and really, you know, this wing is more balanced to the back handles, at least in my experience. I'm using, you know, this handle and that handle, so, you know, reaching all the way up here, that really opens up my shoulders and my arm holds, which I don't really like as much. So I tend not to use these as much, but they are nice to have there. And, you know, in a transition where you're grabbing another handle blindly, if you're grabbing here and here, you know exactly where the other one is. And it's a nice transition point to the other handles if you're moving from your left handle, you know, to your riding handles. So it is nice to have either way, and it does support your leading edge into your strut. So it's a nice feature. Moving back, these handles are pretty standard. You know, they're solid, they're stiff but comfortable. They're a nice size where you can still hang on with a fingertip. You don't need to grab the whole big thing. They're big enough where you can kind of share two hands if you need to when you're transitioning, but it's a little bit tight for that, especially if you have gloves on, neoprene gloves. And there's handles throughout. They're well placed. I tend to use the back handle and this handle here the most. For me, the way I ride, my hand positioning and shoulder positioning. So maybe, you know, try that out if you're going to go out and try to find the handles. Otherwise, I have talked to other people that like this handle and the back handle as well, or even this handle here if I'm in higher winds. What you see here is a harness line attachment for riding with a harness. Take the load off your arms, let you ride upwind a little better, etc., etc. This does not come included with the wing, but it does come included with these handy little attachment points. Those are sewn in really nicely. They're really robust. They're not just going to fall off a knot or anything like that. So these are really nice. One of the better ones I've seen in terms of harness line attachment. It's well placed, you know, so when you're leaning into it, you're not underpowered or overpowered. It's pretty well balanced, so you don't need to do a lot of input with your hands for your core wind range anyway. So yeah, those are the handles. Going to the structure of this is really, I think, what sets this wing apart. You have a really, really big boom. So what that does, it just gives you a lot of rigidity. You know, this is what transfers the energy from your hands into the sail, helps you control it, helps you pump it. And having a really stiff, big boom really transfers that energy well because it's not flexing, it's not twisting. And I think that, you know, I'm not a designer, but for me, it seems like something that really sets this wing apart is really rigid, both in the boom and the leading edge. As you can tell, it's really fat. I mean, I have a big hand, and you can see how that goes all the way to the tip and in the boom. So when you're transferring power through this wing, it really creates a lot of response and power. And that really shows, I think, in the light wind ability of this wing. I would say out of other wings, this wing doesn't create a crazy amount of grunt on the low end. So that's great because it helps with the high end range, but it pumps so well. It's so responsive in the pumping and so rigid that you can create a lot of power on the low end if you just work for it a little bit. You know, so this one really creates a lot of power if you get that pump going. Pump it a few times and bam, it's right there with the best of them in terms of low wind ability. So I'm even out on this 5 a lot of times when otherwise I'd be on a 6. So it's pretty special. It's a really good wing, and I think it has a lot to do with that. Going to the canopy, another thing that's really crucial about a lot of wings that I like, I find, is a nice taut, crisp canopy. You know, you don't want a lot of flappiness because that makes it ride loud, it makes it less efficient, it makes your pumping really weak. As you can tell, it's got a really nice reinforced trailing edge with some strips here to help reduce that flapping and increase durability. And if you look at that tension between the wingtip and the boom, they just really nailed it. It's not too tight, you know, where it can't curve naturally and create power, but it's tight enough where when you pump, it really creates some good power. It doesn't deform. And lastly, we'll just go to this back panel here, whatever you want to call it, a leech panel or a, you know, whatever. It shapes the back of the shape of the wing behind the boom. And when that creates the right airfoil section, it creates a lot more lift. It creates a lot more power. captures more power per square meter. So that's a real key feature that I'm liking in a lot of wings too, that I find, you know, is a common feature among the wings that I really enjoy. So this is the Airush FreeWing. Those are kind of some of the basic features. Sort of mentioned it throughout how we've been talking about it, but some things that I really appreciate about this wing is that it creates a lot of power when you're pumping. So for light wind ability, you know, it's better than you'd think it'd be for the size. You know, I've ridden 4 meters when everybody's on 5s. I've ridden the 5 meter when everybody's on 6s and 7s. And you can really make it work if you're just willing to, you know, give it some good pumps and you have some good technique with that. And then the top end range is so phenomenal. The wingspan, it's a compact design. So if you're on a 5, it feels more like a 4, honestly, compared to a lot of models, which is really cool. Everything, as you'd expect from Airush, is top-notch construction. Zero issues with any kind of durability, any kind of manufacturing defect. So been riding these for a long time, and that's, you know, a lot to say about that wing, and nothing but high praise, really. Personally, as I said, you know, I'd probably remove the windows if it was up to me. That's a personal thing, but you know, take it or leave it. If they're there, they don't bother me. It just does add a little bit of weight. So there's that. But yeah, so this is the Airush FreeWing. Can't have anything but the highest praise for it. We've got most sizes in stock now. So give us a ring, talk to us about if it's the right wing for you, maybe what size is right for you, and we can hook you up. They are made in 2 meters all the way up to 7 meters with 1 meter steps. So you got full, you know, full range of options depending on what you want to do with it. So this is the Airush FreeWing. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and put that in the comment section below. If you've ridden this wing, we'd love to hear from you. You know, talk with us a little bit, tell us what your experience is, because that's always fun to hear somebody else's take on it. Share this video with a friend, subscribe to our channel, all the normal stuff. But thanks for watching. This has been Tucker with MattKiteboarding.com, and we'll see you next time.